Crit number 2. I don't know what my goals are for today. My goals today, pretty much the same thing. Just try to stick with the front group. Try to see if I can maintain my position at the front a little bit more. Try to take advantage of opportunities to move up instead of just holding the wheel in front of me. But week to week in a criterium, 1 week will be easy, the next week will feel like that.
Actually the first week, a couple weeks ago, we had some of our workers in the corners mention that there was some foul language and a lot of negativity. And so we want to remind everyone that Wheeler is a practice race.
Howdy everybody, welcome to Wheeler Crit number 2. So we're going around the first corner here, and surprise, surprise, there's a car in the middle of the road. So just the way you want to start a crit. You get your heart rate up, you get ready, and all of a sudden you got to chill out for a second. So we all slow down, everybody's chilling out. Nobody really knows what's going on. And in my mind, I was thinking that we would probably roll back to the start-finish and restart the race, not knowing how long it would take them to get the car off the road. I didn't really think it'd be smart to just take off and start racing, assuming they'd have the car off the road by the time we got back around. You can see Carter over here. He's holding his finger up, and I think he's telling everybody to just take a free lap. But the guys on the front had other plans, and they went ahead and started racing. And the gap opens up right here, and I'm not really sure what to do here. I don't really want to do an effort to close the gap, especially if we're about to get restarted. But I also don't want to watch 10 guys go up the road half a lap into the race, and so I just keep pedaling and catch back on here. And as we go around the corner back into start-finish, becomes clear that the officials don't know what's going on and have no intention of stopping us, and the race is on. So that's where we're at right now. The race is on, the car is gone, and everybody's going. So here we're about 3 laps into the race, and I think Victor is at the front, and he starts to ride off the front. You can see him in the red jersey up there. He's got a pretty good gap. And right here you can see Dan. He's going to follow that and chase that down, and there's another neighborhood bicycles rider up there trying to bridge to the gap. And the guy in the Rafa kit up here tries to close it down, and everybody jumps on his wheel. The 3 up off the front, they're kind of spread out right now. They're not really together, but they've all 3 got a gap. And Rafa kit, I don't know his name, I don't know who he is. I'm just going to call him Rafa kit. He's still trying to close the gap down. And right here you can see one of the neighborhood guys. He starts to kind of fall back. But Victor's been passed by Dan, but he's trying to bridge back up. And we catch this guy from neighborhood, but can't quite get caught up to Victor and Dan, and they'd established this break. And so right here, the Rafa kit guy, he gets off the front, and he just about gets his wheel taken out from under him, and he saves it somehow. But a couple of the guys from Celestial get on the front and start trying to chase it down. I think Caleb's on the front right now, and he peels off, ready for somebody else to take over, and I think it's Michael Gathers on the front here. And the two guys up front, Dan and Victor, are starting to get a little further away. And now Michael's starting to kind of open up a gap here to Matt. And things are getting real strung out and real crazy right now. We're about 4 laps into the race, and my heart rate's already pretty much maxed out. But I don't want to see the race go away from me, so you got to keep on the pedals. And the two Celestial guys are still trying to close down that gap. There's a couple of neighborhood guys in here. There's like 10 neighborhood guys in this race. They were kind of covering everything, not really letting anything get away. And right here, Michael sits up and nobody else is going to pull through. And that is the last time we're going to see Dan and Victor. They're going to go on and take 1 and 2. I think Victor wins the race. But here, fast forward a few laps later. For a while, people just kind of keep attacking, keep trying to bridge up. Nothing really works. Neighborhood is on it. They're just kind of covering everything. There's 5 guys that are kind of off the front right now, and the rest of us are kind of strung out. And because there's so many neighborhood guys in this race, you know, some people would kind of get off the front, and then it would just kind of get strung out for a little while, and then we'd all just kind of come back together. There were a few other teams in the race. Bike Lab had a couple guys. Celestial had a couple guys. But really, it was like, I don't know, 1-to-1 ratio of neighborhood guys to anyone else. And so there was really no chance of anybody getting away after Dan went up the road. And neighborhood was content with him being up there with Victor. So we just kind of railed it for the rest of the race. And here, fast forwarding a few laps, we're about to catch a group of lapped riders right here, and another surge happens at the front, and the guy in the white and orange kit right here can't follow, and he kind of shakes his head and says he's not going to close it. And Peter Erdos is right here on his wheel, and he says, I'm not going to close it. And there's about 10 guys right there that are kind of riding away, and those guys were most of the powerhouse of the group. And I figured if I didn't close this gap, then that was the last time we were going to see them, and it was no longer a race for third for me. It was a race for 11th or 12th or whatever. And so I decided I was going to have to close this gap. What I should have done is I should have snapped and tried to bridge by myself. What I ended up doing was just kind of slowly reeled them back in and dragged the rest of the group back up with me. At this point, there's still 20 guys on my wheel. So if you're behind me right now, you're welcome. That was the race, riding up the road. And if you finished in front of me at the end of this race, then you owe me a beer. But whatever, that was about a half a lap effort, and I was pretty cooked at this point, and I really needed a breather. I don't think I ever really recovered. I was pretty much on my limit the rest of the race, just trying to hang on. But everything kind of bunched up right here, so I was really, really thankful that I was able to take a couple deep breaths for a few seconds. So here for a little bit, it got pretty slow. I think at this point everybody was joking about this being a group ride. I was thankful for it feeling like a group ride after the effort I just made, so I wasn't gonna complain. So now we're getting up into the middle part of the race, and it's getting strung out again. There's a group going up the road, and it's getting really hard to close these gaps. It's getting really hard to follow the surges. You can see a couple guys kind of have a gap right here. And there's kind of a group forming that's going off the front right here. And I think there's just a handful of guys right here that aren't really interested in doing anything about that. And I've been at my limit for a long time, so I'm not about to close any gaps. And they kind of look back, and some guys go to try to bridge the gap right here. And so once again, things are getting really hard, and it's getting really strung out at this point. This is kind of getting into the later stages of the race, so everybody's losing a little bit of that snap. And you can see Matt Estes here. I spent a lot of time on his wheel last week, and I spend a lot of time on his wheel this week as well. I feel like we're both just kind of at the same point, at the same place. So we're kind of together quite a bit during this race, but we're both kind of struggling to hang on to the group right here. You can see it's still strung out. There's a little bit of a gap, but there's some guys closing it down. And we're still not quite back on, and I'm at this point, I think I'm encouraging Matt, trying to yell at him to stick with it and to get back on. And I look back right now and I realize that there were a couple laps ago, there were still 10, 15 guys behind us. And I realize I'm the last guy in the group at this point. So the safety net is gone. If I lose the wheel, there's nobody left. And I think I'm telling that to Matt right now. I'm telling him that, hey, if we get tailed off, if we get gapped, there's not going to be anybody that comes around us to fill in that gap. That's just going to be the group that goes away. So it's time to kind of keep your head on the swivel and make sure that you hold your wheel and stay with the group. So here we're coming into the very end of the race. I think we're about to see 5 laps to go. And so it's starting to get a little antsy. We're still racing for third, so there's still a podium spot. You can see 2 guys have gone off the front. I think that's Caleb and another guy from Neighborhood Bicycles. I'm not sure who. But I'm on Jeremy's wheel right here, and we're going into the start-finish where we're going to see 5 to go, and I was really happy to see 5 to go, but there's a manhole cover up here that everybody's been dodging all race. You see Jack and Jeremy both dodge it, and I just nailed that thing as I'm seeing 5 laps to go, and for a split second I think that's enough. Alright, I just nailed a manhole cover. I saw 5 laps to go. I'm where I want to be. I thought I was going to get dropped 10 minutes into the race, but I made it to 5 to go. I think I'm happy with that, but I stick with it. I keep the power on the pedals, and me and Rafa Kit get back up to the group. And now I'm thinking, okay, I got dropped right before 3 laps to go last race on 4 laps to go, so I'm going to try to stick with it. And here we come back. We're about to see 4 laps to go, and I'm thinking maybe I can make it another lap. Maybe I can make it to the end. Trying to get ready for whatever effort I'm going to have to do to just do a little bit better than I did last time. And we come into that first corner, and there's a gap opening up, and I'm just praying that this guy can close it. And sure enough, he does, and I'm thinking, okay, you got this. You can do it. You're on your limit, but you can survive another lap. Just get to 3 laps to go. And we come around this corner, and things are getting real fast and everybody's hammering to stay with the group. Everybody's hammering to stay on the wheel. And that is it. Lights are out. I realize I'm done. 3 laps to go goes by. The group's gone. And you can still see up at the next corner, you can still see the tail end of the group going around the corner. And boom, there's Victor and Dan lapping me. So those guys railed it, and they're about to start picking up some other guys in the last couple laps. But that was it for me. I made it to 4 laps to go again. Twice is a coincidence, but 3 times is a habit. So if I do it again, I'm going to have to start calling myself 4 to go Chris. That was a really hard race. It's probably one of the hardest I've ever done, but at the end of the day, it was worth it for a beer at the end. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.